Hey there, Benchmarks members. Another update, and this one's around COVID-19. I think most of you know that there is a lot happening, and keeping up with it is really, really challenging. So, we realized during this time of constant change and trying to adapt to be able to provide services with the limited face to face contact that's in place, that you need information, you need it fast, and you need to be able to access it easily. So we've been sending out updates throughout the day. They've been in real time. I know that it's probably a lot for you to be getting all of these, but the feedback we've heard from most of our members is they'd rather receive them as soon as possible rather than waiting for us to hold off till the end of the day and send everything at once. So that's why you're getting a lot of them. However, we know it's hard to keep up with that many, especially when you think, oh, there was something from that update a couple days ago that I really need to look at, but I can't remember which one it is. So, what we've done to help give you guys access to the data that you need is we've created a temporary Benchmarks COVID-19 website, and you can see the link of how to get to it through this update. We encourage you to keep going to the site. Not only will it provide information about from each of our updates and even what's in the updates so you can quickly go to it, but it also will give you links to important sites that you'll need that are with the department and other places to have information around next steps that are coming or what you need to be doing right now in response to COVID-19. We realize that this information is vital to you for right now. Many of you are fighting for survival, have closed so many service lines that you're skating on thin or no margins or are losing money daily. We absolutely recognize this. We are passing this information on to the department. We are stressing to them the importance of timeliness for changes. We can't stress enough to them. We're doing it both in verbal, calls, text, emails. We are sending them nonstop list of updates of things that we need answers to be able to pass on to you. And for your part, what we ask for you to do is to please keep sending your questions. Please keep sending us your challenges. We need to hear from you to be able to pass those along. We've also compiled a list of the questions that we've passed up. We keep adding to them. You can see a link to those questions. Please take a moment to look through them. If there's a question that you have that isn't on here, please make sure that you send that on to us so that we can include it in our conversations. I will say that some of the waiver pieces will encompass a lot of different things around, for instance, telehealth with enhanced services and other services that we need to use telehealth for. So that the waiver conversation that we have in those questions blanket a lot of that. So for those of you who are on the 8:30 benchmarks call this morning, the COVID-19 benchmarks call, I'm going to be repeating a lot of what was on there. Some of you may want to listen to this again just because it was so much information. It was hard to keep track of all of it. But for those of you who took notes, you probably don't need to listen to any more of this update. I would also note that there are ongoing calls with the department. So by the time this video gets out, there may be additional information that we've already updated. So this is just a time where you're going to have to stay glued to your email, to your text. We're just sending out stuff nonstop, and you're getting things from the department nonstop. In fact, at this point, we have weekly MHDD SAS calls based on different types of service lines, and we're not getting a lot of new information. Primarily, they're on hold. The department has put together an 1135 waiver request. Until that comes through, we're somewhat limited on what we're able to see as far as changes from the department. We've also requested and gratefully have received DSS weekly calls now. The first one was held yesterday. We also have provider association calls with the department. This is a smaller group of us where we can provide more questions and ask details about certain things that we couldn't do in the larger calls. We also have individual calls that are going on nonstop with leadership in the department during the week. And again, that is just us pretty much pounding them with trying to get answers. You have to realize that it's not that they don't want to be moving quickly. There's two major things that are a challenge for them at this point. One is that they are working on the first layer of response, which is trying to get those tests available, to get guidance out to do the test, to get the hospitals ready to start receiving folks, to figure out ways to get the test at sites where you can do a drive-through rather than going to the hospital. There's a whole series of frontline things that they're focused on now, which makes it harder for them to get into the details. But they are actually now really starting to delve into some of those details. Couple things. One is they are establishing a 1-800 number for childcare. This is for folks who, and many of you are experiencing this within your own organization, folks who are having trouble getting to work because they don't have childcare. About half of the childcare centers have shut down. The department has reached out to the childcare centers and asked them to open back up. Some of them are complying. Some are just don't feel like they have the capacity to do it and to keep staff safe. So they've chosen not to. As a result, the department is going to public schools and is requesting if they will open their doors to allow a type of childcare. It will be much less of the licensure requirements we have on our regular, but a type of childcare to be set up, particularly for our first responders and hospitals, emergency folks who are going out, as well as you guys who are serving people on residential campuses and in care. So once we get that 1-800 number, we will be getting that out to you so that you can make sure you can give a call. For those of you who do have child care centers, we just would ask for you to please think about whether or not you have the ability to open yours back up. I know that this is in conflict with the CDC recommendations and even the governor's decree to keep 50 beds, keep people of less than 50 together. But in order to support the first responders, they are asking folks to reconsider. So if you can, please make sure you think about that. In addition to the department's 1135, which we've also again put a link here on this video, but you also have it on our new Benchmarks COVID-19 website. In that waiver, it is pretty expansive, but in addition to the department doing it, the Hospital Association has also put forward an 1135. We submitted quite a bit of information around telehealth that we asked them to include. It was pretty extensive, including assuring that we could do enhanced services with the telehealth as much as we could. Also, we expect on either Friday or potentially Monday, but we think some of this will come out Friday. They will be releasing, and again, this is not comprehensive. And by the way, we have a call with the department at 3 o'clock today. So we'll find out more about this. So we'll probably have another update coming out. They're going to allow virtual consults, allowing stored and forward technologies, adding all licensed and associate licensed professionals to be able to do telehealth, relaxing the HIPAA requirements, which I know many of you have had issues with. They'll also retro pay. They're working on all the enhanced service definitions, and we expect to hear information coming out next week about how they're going to be removing the face-to-face requirements. They are doing a SPA with that, and they're hoping they can get the SPA through pretty quickly. But again, a lot of this information is just coming out probably on today and the beginning of next week. We'll make sure we get that out as quickly as we can. In the call that we had yesterday with DSS, there was a good bit of information that came out. The feds, which is ACF, Administration of Child and Family Youth, I'm blanking right now, sorry. ACF, Administration of Child and Families. Yes, there we go. Too much in the head. They released information yesterday that would allow the monthly visits that take place with their clients to be done via telehealth, televideo conferencing. And so that is up and running. However, the court-ordered home visits have not been waived. This is important to understand the difference between the two. The DSS is required to visit with both our foster families and with our residential-based facilities. They are required to do a face-to-face visit. That has been waived. They can now choose to do video conferencing. However, it is not required that the county DSS choose to follow that waiver. They can choose instead to do the visit, but we expect most, if not all, of the county DSSs to agree to move to video conferencing. But the court-ordered visits with families have not been waived. What I will tell you is a lot of our agencies have chosen to not do them. We could go back case by case and try to get the court order changed, except the courts are closed. So we can't go to court. And, in an effort to keep staff safe and do what's right for the kids that they're serving, protecting foster families, kids, and our staff in residential facilities and the other children there, a number of our agencies have chosen to not allow those home visits, and they are doing video conferencing. A lot of the county DSSs are not happy about this, but what I would tell you is we really seem to be in a series of waves where we're trying to get everybody up to speed to where we need to be at. And we are behind in some of our divisions. We're a little further behind in others, and trying to catch up with the technology changes that need to be made in order to ensure people are safe. However, the local public health departments, as well as the CDC and the governor's directive, have all pretty much said you really must limit face-to-face contact, and the home visits are one that really can put your foster families and the home families, if anyone there has health issues, at risk. So you have to make a decision that's right for you. Our guess is that those will be changing very, very rapidly. We might even hear something today, because we have put in a request that the secretary recommend to the county DSSs that they suspend those and use video conferencing. One of the challenges we have, though, is that for many of these families, and this also applies on the Medicaid side, if you're doing telehealth with families, if they don't have the ability to video conference, then it's going to be telephonic. DSS, the directive from ACF did not allow for us to use telephonic. They allowed for video conferencing, so I'm not sure exactly how soon we'll hear some amendment to that, but my guess is that it will happen relatively soon. The guardian ad litems are being suspended from any of the face-to-face. They're being encouraged to do everything they can by any kind of electronic means. And we also know that many of you have been trying to get the fingerprints done. Those have been, the request has been made to the federal government to suspend those fingerprint requirements under FFPSA. What I would tell you is a lot of the sheriff's office have already stopped doing fingerprints. For those of you in Medicaid who also need fingerprints to get folks into a new, to hire them, we have let the department know that this is a problem and are asking that too be waived. But we have not gotten any information back yet as to whether or not they can waive it. And it may be that they need the 1135 to be able to waive those fingerprints. But what I would encourage all DSS agencies working with DSS is, don't send your staff or your volunteers to the sheriff's department. Most likely they're not going to allow you to do fingerprints anyway, and you're exposing them. We expect to hear that those fingerprints requirements will be postponed very soon. The CPR and first aid requirements for relicensure have also been suspended. They are still requiring that if CPR and first aid can be done, it needs to be done in person. They are not allowing that to be done electronically. If your agency provides those, if you have ways to continue to provide those trainings for your staff, then great. But if not, hopefully with the suspension, everybody will work out okay. But again, DSS has been a little slower on moving on some of these things. They, as far as like staffing flexibility or anything like that, rules relaxation, all of that at this point is kind of on hold for state DSS. They have asked to look at things on a case-by-case basis. They've asked that if you do have any presumptive positive or positive for any youth that are in custody, that you call your assigned consultant and also copy Linda Waite to let her know, and they will begin work with you. I don't think they are getting yet the scope of this. And again, this is just taking time for folks to get in the same phase of recognizing how quickly we're going to have to respond and the flexibility that's needed. But I think DSS will get there pretty soon. But at this point, they're doing it case by case. However, they have asked for some specific rules to be relaxed at this time. Things around, for instance, getting your fire marshals to do the inspections. The fire marshals aren't doing them anymore, so they're trying to get those waived. They've also recognized that getting signatures are very difficult, so they've said that in lieu of having the hard copy signatures, that you please use email, scan, or fax as much as possible to be able to get those signatures in. They have they are continuing to do CPS cases. They are still investigating CPS cases. What they said is that they expect that there will be less of them, but they will be more severe. So you still will continue to be getting referrals. I know that some agencies are looking now at how they can screen before folks come in before they place them with a foster home or they place them in some type of residential. For those of you who do Medicaid residential, you also need to be thinking about screening tactics. We have no guidance yet. We have no guidance even for if we have a presumptive test positive. We have no guidance at all from the department, whether it's Medicaid or DSS, about our response. We have some agencies that have already experienced this. I have to say they've been incredibly innovative. It so happens that these agencies happen to have docs on site, and those docs have been amazing. They have reached out to their public health department. While we're getting instructions that we should be reaching out to public health to help us decide what to do, public health is so overwhelmed that their response time has been taken so long that kind of the way it's working now is that our agencies are telling them what they've done and public health says, yes, that's good. We are going to try to collect protocols that some agencies have already developed and share those. I think we are going to have to figure those things out and share them amongst ourselves to get prepared. So for those of you who have not had a presumptive positive, you can go ahead and get some things in place because we cannot seem to get that from the department. And to be honest, I think y'all probably have a pretty good sense of what you need to do, and we'd rather be sharing that amongst our agencies and getting you to do that rather than looking for the department at this point for leadership. I know that a lot of you are trying to figure out what kind of steps you need to have in place for your staff as far as like screening them when they come in. If you have, again, a place-based setting, we know some agencies are already doing things like taking temperatures and having them go through a series of questions before they come in. We encourage you all to be putting steps in place to protect their staff that are currently doing services. We encourage you to take steps if you have a place-based, meaning some type of residential or campus facility. We strongly encourage you to be thinking through how you can keep folks safe. One of the things that we also want you to think about is if you do have a campus-based or a residential type setting, that if you have the way to get new folks who are coming in to be in a site that's separate from your general population for a period of time, about 2 weeks. And I know not all of you can do that. And I get this is not possible for probably most of you. But if there's a way that you can do that because folks can be asymptomatic for a period of time, it will at least allow you to do some type of screening. So if you can do that, please do. Also, we need you to send us the innovative things that you're doing, ways that you're approaching this. And I know for many of our providers who are doing enhanced services, you've already moved to doing some innovative practice. We want you to tell us what that looks like. Some of it is innovative practice with telehealth that we haven't been approved for. We know that's going on because you feel you have to protect your team. Totally get that. The department has said that they are about a week behind in keeping up with what the steps need to be to keep your staff and your team safe. So many of you are already doing that. You risk not getting paid. We're going to do everything we can to make sure that retroactive payment gets to you. But if you have ideas about what that looks like, then share that with us. We're going to be sending it up to the department. We also know that there are upticks in suicide and attempts. The stress during this time for our clients has just been escalated. We really ask that you share also innovative ways that you're doing interventions to reduce those risks, and also how you are finding ways to calm your clients, adults and children. Particularly for our children, this has been very difficult. Thinking about kids who are in care who aren't going to have court for any of the foreseeable future, that we're looking forward to that court date to be able to potentially get back home. They're not here having those dates now. And so their escalation has been quite significant. We've also seen an increase in runaways. So all of this, we need innovative ways to share amongst ourselves of how we serve our clients to help keep them calm. And you guys are doing a knockout job of thinking up some really cool stuff, and we want to share that amongst you. So I'm going to close from now with a big old thank you to all of you for doing the amazing work you're doing. I know you are so stressed. I know you are under such a tremendous level of pressure. I know you're letting people go, and this is incredibly challenging. So I just want to say to each and every one of you, thank you for what you're doing. We are trying so hard to get answers as quickly as possible. We have your back. If somebody starts questioning some decisions you're making on trying to keep your staff safe, we support you in this. So hang in there, and please help your fellow agencies if you can. We know some of you are already doing groups, have gotten agencies similar to yourself and doing group calls to try to figure out ways that you can figure things out. We support all of that taking place. And if you need contact information for some other agencies, that please reach out to us. We'll make sure that you get that. As always, keep that information coming into us. Stay safe, keep your staff safe, and we'll be in touch very soon. Thank you.